y'all. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. Alrighty. It's day 14 of the 40 Days of Love. We are sojourning through, y'all, and making our way. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm glad you're here. I'm Pastor Shakima. For those of you new folks that are just hanging out with us for the very first time, it's a blessing to have you with us. And I pray that the Lord would allow you to hear with your good ears and that we will learn something tonight. I'm excited about what God is going to do in marriages. I think for me, marriage is just one of those things that I just hold in such high esteem. And I believe that is because God holds it in high esteem as well. And so whatever he esteems, I'm esteeming. I'm throwing something in the trash. I'm sorry. So whatever he esteems, I esteem. So why don't you do me a favor? Let me know who's watching. Let me know where you're watching from. I'm so very thankful to have you. You just do not know what it does. Hey, Ladybug, you just do not know what it means to me to have you all with me. You could be anywhere else. Some of you might be driving in your vehicles. Whatever the case, be safe if you just happen to be driving in your vehicles. But whatever the case is, you all could be doing so many other things other than sitting in here listening to this woman who is not married talk about marriage. But here's what I have to tell you. Every time we sow into our marriage in whatever way, we're going to reap something from it. And so I'm so extremely thankful to have you here. We are going over the 40 Days of Love, or the Love Dare. This is written by the Kendrick brothers, Alex and Stephen Kendricks. And they have another co-author as well. I think his name is Roger something. Lawrence Kimbrough. So 3 guys. This is based loosely on the book Courageous. The movie Courageous that they did several years ago. See if I can get my son to close the door. We got the laundry going. So yeah, based loosely on the movie Courageous, or the movie Courageous was taken from this book. Hey, Miss P from Indianapolis. Everybody needs to stay warm. We got some rain here today, and we are in for some weather we have not seen in a minute. So we're gearing up for some cold weather here as well, making final preparations for the cold because it is coming. Thankful that I have Monday off, that I can make some last minute preps. We do have Tuesday, we're supposed to get some precipitation, but definitely supposed to have some snow on Wednesday. So I will be hunkering down if they call school. We're in North Carolina and we don't know. They might. So anywho, we're going to jump in, not to belabor the point, but do a favor though. Like the video if you can. Put some hearts, put some emojis, do all of the things. Share the video though. That's the important part, is to share it. Because if your marriage is struggling and you relatively love your spouse, you know some people who are struggling in their marriage and they don't have any love for their spouse at all. They are one day away from making a different decision. Why don't you share? Share something that I've, shared with you. Invite them over. Have a few friends over and y'all get together and watch the replay, right? Tomorrow's Sunday. It's just kind of a chill, laid back day. Just do a brunchy lunch, and sit around the TV or whatever, the computer, and just watch the videos back on replay. It's going to be amazing. Hey, Purple Rain. Hey, friend. Glad to see you. So we're going to just recap day 14 and then jump into day 15. Day 14, we talked about love, taking delight, and leading our heart, not allowing our heart to lead us, which is important. I don't think anybody here, right, would let a child, a baby, tell them where to go and what to do. Yet we let our heart tell us where to go and what to do. And the Bible tells us that our heart is wicked, desperately wicked, and we allow it to be in charge of us. So I have decided to take my power back and to tell everything in here what I'm doing. And they're going to have to follow suit. My children included in all of that. Some of us have children from other marriages or other relationships, and they come in and cause havoc and wreak havoc in the marriage. Not the kids, but it's a difference. You invite another person into your home, and it hasn't been that way. And there is a lot of stuff that just happens in marriages. And so I think it is so of the utmost import that we invest into our marriages, that we invest in with our spouse, that we just put as much of ourselves in it as we can, because I'm hoping to get something back out of it. I didn't get married to get divorced. I am divorced, but I didn't get married with that intent in mind. It took 18 years for me to get to that place, and it still was a hard decision. And 15 years later, you know, it it still is a challenge. Still is it's less challenging being divorced now, but I would prefer it differently. I would not prefer to be divorced. This is not the life I had planned, but man makes his plans. Um in the marriage vows, it says, what God have joined together, let no man separate. And I can tell you right now, God didn't join us together. We just did it ourselves and thought, oh, well, we hope it works out for the best. And it didn't. 18 years and 4 kids later, right? In a house and all the things. Good thing we didn't have a dog. That would have been tough. All right, moving on. Day 14, today's dare, right? So we've done dares every day. Your dare for today was this: purposefully neglect an activity you would normally do so you can spend quality time with your spouse. Do something he or she would love to do or a project they'd really like to work on. Make the choice to enjoy your time together. Did anybody do your dare for the day? Remember, I told you last night about the dump story. That is a true story, I promise. One of my really, really, really awesome and amazing Titus 2 women shared that with me. And she's like, Shakima, I did not want to go to that dump. But honey, the smile on his face. And I just am so very thankful. Fortunately, or, as it were, they are empty nesters. And a lot of marriages don't know how to handle the empty nest. A lot of women, because it seems to be our jam, not saying men are not like this, but it's typically women spend all of our time with our children. And then we don't know how to spend any time with our spouse after the children leave the home. We are so busy running to this activity, that activity. They in dance, they in taekwondo, they in this, they in that, they in travel ball. We doing, and all the way up until they get 18 and they graduate. And then you turn around and you look at the only other person that is in the house who has now become your roommate and not your spouse. And then more marriages break up in those years. We've been together for a zillion years, and now all of a sudden you want to get divorced. Well, we don't know each other because we've allowed other things to come in and steal our time, which is precious. And I get it. We have children and they need us. They do. But so does your spouse. We need each other, especially after the children come, because our attentions are divided. So here's what I like to say to people, and I'm only telling you what I did that was good, and what I've learned over the years. At a certain point, your children need to go to bed. They need to go to bed, and they need a lot of sleep, 10 hours at least 10, 12 would be better. So put those babies to bed. Just start establishing a bedtime. Well, they're too old for a bedtime now. My children still have a bedtime, and my daughter's 34. My son is 28. My other daughter's 20, and my other son is 15. Now, out of all the kids, he's the one who stays up the latest. My son, my 28-year-old probably still goes to bed about 9:30 if he's home at night, not working or whatever, because they need their rest. Their bodies are tired. They're cranky. They're acting out. It may take a little bit of time to get them on a good schedule, but all you have is time, because when they leave, you just going to have time with this person that you don't know if you don't get to know them right now. And so I'm encouraging you, as your children are smaller, to make some different decisions, make some different choices, start doing some things that are beneficial for you and your spouse, and then spend time. Once those babies are in bed, it is husband-wife time. That doesn't mean you have to have husband-wife time, but at least we can have a conversation. There were many, many, many days when I did not have anybody to talk to except a baby, a kid, because after I had got one kid school age, I had another one. So I was talking to kids all day long. Then I taught school and I was talking to kids all day long. And I wanted to come home and have an adult conversation. And my husband and I, we were beyond that by then. We were so busy doing our own things. I was so busy raising kids that we just, we didn't have any words for each other. And I don't want that for you all. I believe that marriage is one of the most important things that God has gifted us with, is our spouse. And I think we need to massage that. We need to work with it. We need to go back and reflect to see where we've made some errors, and we need to correct those. I don't think it's too far gone. That's just my thought, my hope. I'm always hopeful, but if you feel like there's still something left in it, then I'm asking you to give it all you got. In the movie, if you go watch the movie, it's called Courageous, and it's a very good movie. The character that plays Kirk Cameron's character his name is, gosh, I don't even remember what his name is. It doesn't matter, whatever his name is. But his father says to him, just give me 40 days. Just give me 40 days of an honest effort with this. And if you choose something different after the 40 days, then at least you've given it your last best effort. That's all I'm asking you all to do. If you've taken the time to join me, then you're interested at the very least. Why not participate? I was doing a thing with my students yesterday. We have to do these things called academic career plans. And my 8th graders have to plan out their whole high school career before they leave middle school. And so they find it very challenging. And I'm walking them through the steps, almost holding their hands all the way through their core classes. Why do you do that, Miss Wilson? Because all the classes are the same for every student. All your AIG kids are taking honors classes. All your regular ed kids are taking regular classes. Everybody can take AP classes if they choose to, or they get a recommendation from their teacher. So I'm just giving them science, social studies, language arts, and math. Everybody gets to take that. We walk our way, just tiptoe through the tulips, and all is well. And then when I say to them, okay, we're getting ready to do your elective classes, you get to choose now what you want to take. They are clueless. They cannot figure it out. And they'll sit and look at me like this. And I have to say to them, this is not a spectator sport right now. This is all hands on deck. You're participating, because here is what we have to do. You know what you like. Miss Wilson doesn't. I could lead you through that first part because everybody's taking science, social studies, language arts, math. Everybody. The next part is, what do you like? What do you want to study when you leave high school and go to college? What's your future career? And they are clueless. And it is painstaking trying to get them to venture over into, oh Lord, to get them into, what do I want? And most of us, if we're looking at our spouse, we have no clue what we want from them. We know what Instagram says we should want. We know what TikTok says we should want. But we don't know what we want. We don't even know what we want. We don't even know what we want from ourselves. We don't know what we like. We don't know what our hobbies are. And they don't either. I'm like, what's your hobby? What do you enjoy doing? Nothing. Well, no, that's not true. You enjoy something. I like to sleep. Okay, there are no classes in sleeping. However, we let's see what else we can work with. And eventually they get there. And I want us to get there sooner than later. So what I'm asking you, those of you that are here, to dig in, to actually step into the water. It's okay. It's fine. It might be a little cold, could be a little hot. You will adjust. And let's just do the thing, right? Okay, very good. So did everybody do last night's homework? I hope you did. I hope you did today. Forsake something. There are plenty of things that I wouldn't want to do with my spouse when I was married, but I hope I would have took one for the team. Ooh, we didn't have anything in common at all. But, I would have tried my best, and I hope you tried your best. Today, we're talking about, for day 15, which is tomorrow, love is honorable. Here's the thing. Love is honorable. Tomorrow is an affirmation day. We're affirming, we're esteeming, we're saying, I esteem you higher than anybody else. We're making sure that they know that. If you don't know this, you have to sometimes tell people, walk them by the hand, lead them by the hand, and let them know, I esteem you, because they may not know it from your behavior. They may not know it from your tone of voice. They may not know it from your tone of text. They may not know it because you don't hardly even talk to them, or they do. We don't have any communication. I'm absolutely sure you do not esteem me. But what I'm saying is, I esteem my spouse higher than anybody else. Shakima, you don't have a husband. That does not mean that I cannot practice esteem before he comes. My heart's desire is to esteem my husband above every other person in my life. I honor him. Some people, when a man asks a woman to marry him, I've heard it said that he will say, will you do me the honor of becoming my wife. Honor means a high respect or great esteem. Will you respect me so much that you're going to join your life to mine? Will you do me that big up? Will you do me that big favor? Will you do me that one big solid and just become my life's partner? There is nothing else greater in this world than that you can decide after your salvation for Jesus than who you're going to mate with. And all of us want to mate, quiet as it's kept. Well, I don't want to be a pick-me girl. Everybody wants to be a pick-me girl. Everybody want to be picked. All of us. There are very specific people who have the gift of singleness, like Paul. He was one. It was a special gift. The majority of us don't have that. I would say more than almost all of us don't have it. It's a select few that do have that gift of singleness. So we all want to be picked. And once that person picks you, what he is saying is, out of all the choices, you're the one. He has done his very level best to esteem you at such a high level. Nobody else gets the place of honor that you get in my life, in my heart. 1 Peter 3:7 says, you husbands, live with your wives in an understanding way and show her honor as a fellow heir of the grace life. Show her honor as a fellow heir of the grace of life. Who is the one person you respect more than anything else in this world? Who is that person? For me, I do respect my husband, and I've not met him yet, but my grandparents, I respect my grandparents, and they've been passed away for a very, very long time, but they raised me when nobody else wanted me. When my mother could not take care of me and my father was nowhere around, my grandparents took me in, and I don't care what they did in their off time, their drinking and all that. None of that matters. It still doesn't matter to me now because they gave me the only stable home that I knew, dysfunctional as it was, but it was stable. It was what I knew. And they gave me what they had. My grandmother said, if I eat dirt, you eat dirt. If I'm in a ditch, you in a ditch. We together. That's what she was saying. We together. And I didn't have anybody else that was together with me. And so my heart, even at 48 years old, I'll be 49 very soon. My birthday's coming soon, y'all. And I'm excited about it. Even at 48 years old, my grandparents haven't been passed away 10 plus years. I still esteem my grandparents and honor them very much. The Bible says, honor your father and your mother, and your days will be long on this earth. They were not my physical father and mother, but I saw them as such. And so I put them on a very high pedestal. And I judge a lot of people based on what my grandparents taught me, because they taught me to honor, and they taught me to love, and they taught me to respect, and they taught me to serve, and they taught me a lot of things, even as dysfunctional as they were. And so who to you is that individual? Now, the Bible is very clear. When we enter into holy matrimony, our spouse now trumps every other person in our lives. Most of us get very tripped up, and I know this because I have heard it before, and I take flack from my kids from it. I'm not going to choose a man over my children. Can I tell you, you are in error, man or woman, whoever it is that has the children, you are in error. The Bible says, and for this shall a man leave his father and mother and cleave only unto his wife. Nowhere in there does it say cleave only unto your children. And I get it. I love my kids and you love yours, and we want to do the very best for them. And it is my heart to do so, but not to the detriment of my marriage, because I took a covenant vow with that man, or you took a covenant vow with that woman. You did not take a covenant vow with your children. And I promise you, you can take this check to the bank and cash it, because there is funds here. Your children are going to eventually leave you. They will eventually leave you. And you're going to be left with that man that you did not choose, you did not esteem, you did not honor. You let your kids talk to him any type of way. Well, no man going to come up in here telling my kids what to do, but you want him to pay the mortgage. You want him to pay the utilities. You want him to pay for the after school sports. You want her to parent just like you would be parenting her, and have all the responsibility of taking on lady time and all this other stuff she got to do, but she can't say nothing. And then if she says something, here it is. If she says something, baby mama is on the phone calling you. Oh no, she don't get to tell my kid what to do. Ma'am, You are not in this equation. Now I get it. We respect you for who you are. We respect the role that you play in her life and in his life. However, you are now this low on the totem pole. I'm up here. I'm his wife. Me. She's in my care. Understand this. This man would not have married me if he thought I was going to do something to his child. I hope he wouldn't have. If he thought I didn't have her best interest at heart. So what I need for both of y'all to do is understand that we together, whatever else happens, him and I are together. And if you don't have that, then you're going to find yourself at odds with your spouse. He's going to be taking sides with his ex and the child, which is absolutely wrong and should not happen in a marriage. Whoo, Shakima, your husband didn't have any kids. He did not. He didn't. I did. I had a daughter when I met him. And I said to him, you don't have to do nothing for my child. Neck rolling and all. And I was wrong the whole time. It took me a minute to get my mind right. And she loves her dad. That is her dad. It's the only dad she knows. She's 34 years old. So she knew him since she was 2 years old. It's the only dad she knows. Loves her dad. And my daughter says, Mom, you going to pick a man over us? Yes, every time. Not because I want to pick the man, because I made a covenant before God, and God honors the covenant. And anybody who enters into that covenant that's not a part of it or comes in to cause havoc, now I'm responsible for that. And so I'm going to honor, which means, again, I am going to have high respect and great esteem for my spouse, no matter what. Over everybody. You hear it sometimes, especially in the church setting, that the wife loves the pastor more than she loves her husband. Wrong. Totally wrong. I get it. I esteem my pastor. But I'm married to this man. Again, that brings in the conversation of being equally yoked. And a lot of times we're not, and we're trying to spend every minute at the church because the pastor is he is the epitome of what we think a man should be. You ain't married to him. You married to this guy. So you got to figure this part out. And if he asks you, hey, do you mind scaling it back just a little? I'm not talking about totally leave the church. I'm just saying not be there every time the door is open, because we got a household to run as well. And now you popping off because you got to be up in where the Lord is. The Lord is everywhere you are. Holy Spirit lives and dwells inside of us. He's not just in that building. I'm thankful for the building, and I'm thankful for the gathering together of the brethren, but he is where I am. So I don't have an excuse anymore if my husband asks me to evaluate my priorities. I just need to evaluate my priorities because this man that I have covenanted my life with is asking me in different words to esteem him. I'm going to move on. All right. Here's the thing. Whoever that person is that you would respect more than anyone in the world, what would it mean to you if you could meet the person for a meal or spend a day with them? You no doubt feel very privileged. When they talked, you would listen with great attentiveness. They made a request, you would take it very seriously, ensure that it was fulfilled. Welcome to the definition of honor. If they made a request, you would make sure it was fulfilled. Husbands and wives make requests of each other all the time, and it might get done if I have time. No, I have time because I honor you, and I honor the sacrifice that you make for this household. And I honor the fact that you asked me to be your wife and not somebody else. And we don't have to have all those conversation pieces. But what we have to do is honor the requests that they made. Now, I'm not talking about anything crazy. We pray that nobody's married to people who be asking them crazy stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about regular, average, normal people who are just asking you to do something that is going to esteem them. Hey, listen, I know you've been not feeling well, but the dishes are like really out of control. If you get a chance today, would you, do that? I'll get to them next week when I feel like it. I ain't been feeling good all week. Here's what I tell people, and I'm telling you, you can take this and you welcome. So here's what I have several friends, and recently I was talking to one of my friends, and she has a lot on her plate. She does a lot. She's helping over here. She's helping over there. She works her own business. She's got a lot going on. And I said to her, I said, how about give yourself a gift? She's like, well, what do you mean, Shakim? Because she's like, I can't get everything done. My laundry's overflowing. My bathrooms aren't clean, blah, all the things. And I said, give yourself the gift of hiring a cleaner. And most people would look at us and say, you shouldn't have a maid. You don't make enough money to have a maid. Well, can I tell you this? If I didn't eat out 4 times a week, and I didn't go places I shouldn't go, or I combined trips, I didn't stop at Starbucks every day for a $5, $6, $7, $8 coffee times 30 days, that's $240, $50. I promise you, if you looked at your habits, you could afford somebody to come and take some of that off of you. Nobody should be living in trash. Nobody. Well, my mama didn't teach me. Okay, ask somebody who knows. That's your responsibility. Not when it's piled high over your head. This man goes to work every single day. He affords you the opportunity to stay home. The least we can do to honor that is to clean the house. That's the least we can do. If you want to bump that honor up just a smidge, you might want to have a meal done. Even a smidge more, you might want to take a shower and get dressed. Oh, glory. Hallelujah. How about that? These are things you might want to not tell his business to everybody. Your mama. She don't need to know all the things. If you are in any type of harm's way, yes, tell somebody. But if this is just he on my nerve, or he says something crazy, or we just not getting along, everybody doesn't need to be in your business. You have just uncovered your husband to the world. All of his business is out there in the street. And I promise you, it's not staying there, because they getting on the phone. Girl, did you hear? Girl, yeah, or texting. They texting it. They got to get this information out to all the masses, people that will see it. We have not honored or esteemed our husband at all by telling his business. He's not perfect, and neither are us, but he is holy to you, or should be in your eyes, because that's how God intended for it to be. And I think even 40 days is really not enough. We need 40 days before the marriage. We need 40 months before the marriage, because you really need to understand these little intricate details of marriage, which we think are so normal. It's not normal anymore. When you become man and wife, and the two shall become one, your allegiance shifts from everybody else to this person. And I am, again, not talking about people who try to alienate you from your family, and they, those people who don't want you to be with anybody else. That's not what I'm saying. But I now have to think of this man, and I have to think of this woman. And when they go back into the presence of my family, or I'm in the presence of their family, all the dirt and bad stuff that I've told them about my spouse, they're going to remember all of that. They will not remember one of his great attributes. It's all going to be the dirt. And that's what is going to be highlighted for everybody to see. And I don't believe that we should do that. I don't believe it's honoring. I don't believe it honors God. And I know it does not honor your spouse. Here's honor as well. Is something regarded as a rare opportunity and pleasure, bringing pride and it's a privilege. It is a privilege to be your spouse. It's a privilege to be your wife. I'm not talking about where they do everything for you and you feel beholden to them. I'm not feeling beholden to anybody. Jesus takes care of all of my needs, but it is a privilege to be your wife. It is a privilege to be seen with you in public. It is a privilege to represent you when you are unable to be with me and I have to go and represent you or this last name, this family name. It's my honor to do that. And I put my best foot forward. I put on my best outfit. I put on my best makeup. I wear my, drive my best car, and I do all the things, and I give my best words because I remember that I'm honoring you. I tell my kids this very often, and I want to give this one to you as well, and you're welcome. When my kids leave the house, sometimes especially if we've had a difference of opinion, especially my son. My son is 15, and he really needs a man in his life. And I know that, and he knows it as well. And we're doing our best. We're praying, and the Lord is still, he is a father to the fatherless, and I appreciate that. But God knows my heart where my son is concerned. So sometimes we will have a little difference of opinion. And he, what the old folks would say, smells himself. And I do try to buy deodorant and soap quite often. And sometimes I have to make him go back and do it again because, honey, there's something is wrong. But he is feeling he's growing and other things are growing and he feels like he's a man. Not yet, but I get it. And I have to tell him quite often, I said, when you leave this house, remember this, that you represent your father and I. And I tell him that. He doesn't have my last name. He has his dad's last name. I said, you don't have your own last name. You have your father's last name and you will respect him. You will bring honor to his name. You will not go out here acting crazy. You will not go out here acting like you don't have parents. You will not go out here acting like we let you do anything and everything with anybody and everybody. You will not. I said, you haven't lived long enough to have a name of your own. This is your father's last name. And you will respect him. Shakima, y'all divorced. We are. But my children still bear his name and they will honor their father because I said so. So that's the mindset we want to have when we're thinking about our spouses. Remember, he chose you, gave you his last name, picked you. He could have picked a whole lot of people. Trust me. There were people. The cleanup woman was trying to come and sweep around your front door, honey. Let me tell you, she saw just how good of a man you had. He saw just how good of a woman you had. So if you don't do right by those people, I promise you that next year, this time, your testimony will be different and a whole lot more of us will be single. I don't plan to be single by next year, this time. I don't. I've asked the Lord very specifically. I've given him a timeline. And I've never done that before in my life, but I've asked him within a specific timeline. I didn't give one. I asked him, Lord, is it possible within this time frame? I'm 18 days in. I'm waiting to see. Praise the Lord. Okay, moving on. Okay. To honor someone means to give them respect and high esteem, to treat them as being special and of great worth. When you speak to them, you choose your words carefully. You are more courteous and polite. When they speak to you, you give their words value and weight and significance. You willingly go the extra mile to accommodate them if at all possible, simply out of respect for who they are, out of honor. I'm going to do what he asked plus some. I'm going to do what she asked plus some. You hear people say, oh my gosh, he went all out. He just pulled out all the stops. He spared no expense. He did all the things. And I'm not talking about, again, spending money either. But whatever they ask you to do, you go above that because you honor them. The Bible speaks often of honor. We are told to honor our father and mother as well as those in authority. Husbands are to show honor to their wives in 1 Peter 3:7. And wives are to show respect to their husbands according to Ephesians 5:33. We are not told to honor our spouses only if they deserve it, but because honoring them is right in God's sight and because of their special position in our lives. They don't have to earn your honor. Just by the sheer fact of who they are, just by position, you should honor them. Yes, they might be doing stuff that's crazy. Yes, they might be acting out. Yes, they have not considered you much at all. We don't reciprocate that behavior. It's not the same energy. I'm not giving you the same energy you giving me. I am choosing what would honor God. And what honors God is when we honor our spouse. Okay. I have talked enough. And I'm going to give you your homework. That's all I'm going to do. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Here's one that I thought was good, and I'm going to give you the homework. He says, love positively acts. It doesn't negatively react. This is on page 73 if anybody has the book and you following along. Love rises above the cloudy circumstances and soars above the storm. It defies common self-centered logic. It chooses honor even when it's rejected. Love treats its beloved as special and sacred, even when an ungrateful attitude is all it gets in return. It refuses to pull back into the hold of self-centered living. And I wrote in my book, I'm living for us. I always respond with we or us. And I tell people that if I ever get to the point where I say me and I have just forgotten my husband. I have left him out of a situation. And if I leave him out now, I'll leave him out later. And so I don't want to get in the habit of leaving him out, even though he's not here yet. So I've been saying us and we for 15 years. Why did you decide to do that? Well, we thought it was, or yeah, I think, we think that's a pretty good idea. And I just include him, even though he doesn't exist yet. He exists, but he's not in my world. But I include him because I never want to dishonor him. And if I ever think of myself as single, I will dishonor my husband. I know that because that's what strong, independent women do, right? We don't need nobody. Oh, we do. So I choose to not leave him out, even though he's not physically here. And that's my choice. All of us get a choice. The last thing that he said that I thought was very, very good. He says, it's marvelous, of course, when a husband and wife are joined in this purpose, when they're following the biblical command to be devoted to one another in love, and they're giving preferences to one another in honor, according to Romans 12:10. Given marriage should be honored by all, the Bible says, and the marriage bed kept pure. That's Hebrews 13:4. He said, but when your attempts to honor go unreciprocated, you are to be honorable just the same, whether they honor you back or not. This is not about tit for tat. This is not about I'm gonna do it if you do it. This is about I'm doing it because it's the right thing to do. How about that? Thank you, Holy Spirit. I'm doing it because it's the right thing to do. I'm honoring you because I took vows before the Lord. Actually, this goes higher than you. I took vows before the Lord. And because I honor my relationship with God above my relationship with you, I'm going to honor you because I honor him. See how that works? I'm really doing all things as unto the Lord. Everything I'm doing is as unto the Lord. No worries, Miss Ollie. We're glad you made it. We think we're serving our spouse, and we are in the physical, but in the spiritual, we're serving God by serving them. Jesus said, I didn't come to be served, but to serve. So I am reciprocating that. I'm giving back that same energy to the Lord by serving my spouse and serving them well, even if they don't receive it or they don't serve me back in the same way. Because I'm making my choice. Everybody has their choice to make, and I can't force it on somebody else. But what I can do is decide for me. He says, that's what love dares to do, to say, of all the relationships I have, I will value ours the most. Of all the people for whom I'm willing to sacrifice, I will sacrifice the most for you. With all your failures, sins, mistakes, faults, past and present, I still choose the God-honoring way to a better marriage and a better life. I choose to love and honor you. That's how you create an atmosphere in your marriage for love to be rekindled. If the love is not, if the fire has gone out, you can rekindle that love. That's why I don't give up. I think I did file for divorce, right? That's just the truth of the matter. But it was 18 years in, and it was after everything I could do. There were some things that just, marriage was not conducive to the two people, right? It just wasn't conducive. And so we were being, it was harder. It was hard. It wasn't, there was no physical abuse or anything like that. It was just not a God situation. And I'm not saying that I looked at, my pastor thinking, oh, I want to be married to the pastor of the church. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it was not conducive for us to be married. We should not have ever been married in the first place. And there were some things that were not presented up front, because had it been presented up front, different choices would have been made. And it took a long time for those things to come out. And you're like, oh my gosh, what in the world did I just do? So anywho, there it is. Oh, your dare for tomorrow. Oh, your dare. Sorry, y'all. The dare for tomorrow, day 15. Choose to begin showing greater honor to your spouse above your normal tendency. Begin by listening more attentively and respectfully to your husband or wife. Let your mate see how you give greater weight to their words and requests. Show that he or she is receiving higher esteem in your eyes than before. Put your phone down. When you're talking to your spouse or they're talking to you, put your phone down. There's nothing wrong with taking a few minutes off of your cell phone. It's still going to be there. That same notification, my daughter just texted 8 messages, and they still going to be there when I get off this phone. My daughter lives in California. If it was an emergency, she would have called. It's not an emergency. It'll still be there. So give them the esteem, some type of a way. And don't be fake, don't be phony. Just be more attentive. Respond to their text messages when they call. Answer when they call. My current pastor now, he's been my pastor for 17 years. Him and his wife have a thing. It doesn't matter. I can call him right now. He ain't answering. He just ain't answering. If his wife calls, she's always answering. And if he calls her phone and she does not answer, he calls whoever she's with and says, where's Diane? I'm calling and she's not responding, because they made a commitment to each other that if we call each other, we stop what we're doing and we answer. And they don't call each other, all the time just for crazy stuff, but that's their commitment to each other. If Diane, if you call, or Tim, if you call, we stop what we're doing. I mean, he's called 3 or 4 different people, me being one. Where's have you seen Diane? I'm trying to call her. She's not answering her phone. Oh yeah, she's over there. I'll get her. Don't worry. I got it. Right? That's their commitment to each other. That shows so much esteem for your spouse, to talk kindly about them in the presence of other people. That says so much about what you think of them. They're not just every common day, every other person. This is the person, I'm telling you, and this is the only way I can make us understand. This is the person that just about touches your soul in them intimate moments. And you don't esteem them. You just talk to them any old type of way. Crazy. How? All right. Anywho, there it is. Quickest one this week. Yes. Like the video, share, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you have not. Share this with a friend. Somebody out here needs this. I promise you. I want to thank you guys so much for stopping by. Do all the things. Heart it up. All the things. Love you guys. I will see you back here tomorrow night, 9 p.m. for day 16. We're going to prep 16. We are almost halfway there. Don't give up. Keep going. Just give us 40 days. We have 25 more days to go. You can do this. I can do this for 25 more days. We got it. All righty, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Love y'all. Bye now. Bye.